Hey everybody, welcome to RCTV's coverage here at Springford Gymnasium. The Rams Gymnasium is the Springford Rams hosting the Owen J. Roberts Wildcats here at home along with Chad Strickler. I am Bill Culp, and right now you're looking at some JV matches that are finishing up. But Chad, you got two teams coming in, pack teams coming, both coming off of two wins. Springford coming off of a win against Bethacton, and then O.J. Roberts thumping Norristown. So what do you expect tonight? What do you expect to see?
Pretty much what I expect to see every time OJ and Springford wrestle is a top-tier Pac-10 match. One of the three pillars between those two in Boyertown over the past decade in regards to constantly proving to win not only within the league but in the district and making a fair amount of noise at the state level as well. So I really expect nothing different tonight. These two teams, I don't want to say aren't fond of each other, but there's definitely a rivalry that has started with these kids way back in youth and junior high all the way up through. They already did compete against each other numerous times. They faced in the championship match of the Rocky Yard Duels at Council Rock North, and Springford was victorious 44-27. And most recently this past weekend at Pottsgrove was the individual PAC championships, where Springford came away with the team title and O&J was third. So O&J knows that they're coming in a little bit of the underdog, but at the same time Springford and Coach Seislov and his staff, they have them ready to go, because Coach Girafalo and his O&J staff knows how to prepare for Springford. They know how to prepare for big matches, and they're definitely going to give Springford their best tonight.
Oh yeah, Springford at 10-3 overall, and the Wildcats here at 8-6. And you mentioned just that, again, that rivalry, and we know that Springford has been cream of the crop the last couple of seasons, really thriving the last couple of seasons. So there's nothing better for any team in the PAC to come in and beat Springford.
Yes, yeah. So Springford they've really kind of risen above that within the past decade. As I've said, it's been kind of a three-man race, so to speak. But Springford, the last few years, two-time reigning District 1 champions. Some of the best wrestlers that ever wrestled at Springford, left the program last year. And I think beginning of the year, they were trying to find out some of the leaders in the room. They were trying to find out who they are. Went to some tough early tournaments in December at Cumberland Valley and at Liberty. And, they were humbled a little bit, but I think once that really helped them with Coach Seislov, Coach Landis, and that staff, they stayed the course. And, they were able to trust the coaching staff and really just now understand why they went to those buzzsaw tournaments, so to speak, because they really are doing well within the league and the non-league, coming in with a nice record and currently sitting at getting the 4th seed in the District 1 tournament, wrestling Satterton tomorrow night. And while Owen J. Roberts is the 15th seed, and they'll be facing number 2 seed Council Rock South.
Yeah, so these two teams, again, no strangers to each other, and you mentioned just the record, and I know those Springford Rams looking to add to that record as these couple of JV matches end up. So please, everybody, sit tight, grab a snack. When we come back, RCTV is going to have live coverage of varsity match, the Springford Rams hosting the Owen J. Roberts Wildcats. So stick around with us real quick. Chad and I will be here. We'll be waiting for you.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it.
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Collier, for the help yesterday after school.
Have you experienced great customer service from a Springford employee? Want to send a special thanks out to the stranger who paid for your morning coffee?
Don't worry about it today. Somebody paid it forward.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Many thanks is unsolicited acknowledgement of anyone in the Springford community who simply deserves recognition.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. That was so good. Emery's always so nice.
That was delicious. Visit the Springford webpage to submit your many thanks.
I've had a rough morning, and I'm like really hungry.
Yeah, well, let's go get breakfast at the cafeteria.
I didn't bring any money.
Yeah, but it's free.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free!
Every day before first period.
Yeah, that's what she said. Let's go.
All reimbursable meals in person and for registered Springford Cyber Learning students will be free through the end of the 2021-2022 school year.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
Only you can prevent wildfires.
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Hey, Dad. I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad. That's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Home fire drills give your family a plan of action. In a home fire, you may have less than 2 minutes to get out. So when you drill, show everyone 2 ways out of the house, pick a safe meeting spot, and get there in under 2 minutes. Then practice home fire drills at least twice a year. You can even make them fun. So everyone knows the sound and exactly what to do when they hear a smoke alarm. Go to ready.gov/fire drill and learn how to prepare your family for home fires.
Hey! There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create,
She did it.
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Collier, for the help yesterday after school.
Have you experienced great customer service from a Springford employee? Want to send a special thanks out to the stranger who paid for your morning coffee?
Don't worry about it today. Somebody paid it forward.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Many thanks is unsolicited acknowledgement of anyone in the Springford community who simply deserves recognition.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. That was so good. Emery's always so nice.
That was delicious. Visit the Springford webpage to submit your many thanks.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create.
She did it.
And change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to RCTV's coverage here in Rams Gymnasium. Along with Chad Strickler, I'm your other host, Bill Culp, and we're looking forward. We're looking at the wrestlers, the varsity wrestlers. We're ready to begin the match as the Springford Rams varsity team is hosting the Owen J. Roberts varsity team, the Wildcats, here tonight. And again, Springford, I know, looking to come out. As you can see, look at this camaraderie right before. We just heard all those rules there, Chad, a couple of minutes ago, and it seems like wrestling should throw out some of those nice rules.
The nice rules?
Yeah, the nice rules.
Yeah, the word nice and wrestling really don't go.
Correct.
Don't go hand in hand here tonight. Maybe in basketball.
Yeah.
Maybe in your world of basketball,
maybe. And I was wondering when I was hearing the warm up music. What was your warm up songs when you were in high school?
Well, we had a little bit. There was that band called Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the Jungle.
We tended to listen to Welcome to the Jungle when we came out.
That's a great tune. That's a great walk-in tune, though. Yeah, it's a lot different than Welcome to the Jungle.
I mean, at that time, Appetite for Destruction was only 5 years old. So I mean, let's be honest here. It wasn't considered classic rock.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we're here. We're seeing the introductions here, and this is kind of neat, with the introductions, because right off the bat, you kind of get to see who you're going up against right away.
Oh,
you're
they know.
The opponent's
Well, this is the second time they meet during weigh-ins. They meet now. How are you going to walk out? Are you going to walk out? Give a nice handshake. Give a quick handshake. Do you stare your opponent down? Are you cool, calm, and collective? Yeah. They each have their own little way of making it work here.
Now, is that the way you used to do it back when you were in high school too?
A what?
Like the walk out, and kind of meet the person you're going to wrestle against. Because I'm wondering if you could get a feel of your opponent in that split second. Do you kind of get it like, I feel a little fear in his eyes, or he got a firm handshake, he's ready to battle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depended. Sometimes if he was overcompensating for a handshake, you knew you had him.
I could see that.
If he was slippery when wet.
Exactly.
Then it was.
There you go.
You didn't know. You're like,
yeah, there you go. Hey, I'm telling you, that's what I would try to do. I would try to intimidate before I got on that man. So talk about wrestling. Talk about how the teams are scored. What is the point system here? This and that. How do they determine the winners and the losers?
Well, it's 3 2-minute periods. They'll start in a neutral position, which is standing. Both guys will start in standing, and then the beginning of the second period, depending on the the odd or evens, one team will get choice, and they can either choose a referee's position of top or bottom. They could choose neutral, or they can actually defer and then flip the choice to the other opponent, and then on third period they would then get the choice back.
Gotcha. All right, stick with us as we hear the national anthem.
What so proudly we hailed
right, everybody, welcome back again. Thanks for sticking with us here. And we got a legendary athlete here, Chad Strickler, along with Bill Culp, RCTV's coverage. And Chad, what are the wrestlers at this point? Obviously, they've been thinking about this all day and probably going through the head in the match. What are they thinking as that national, right before their first match? What are they thinking moments before?
Moments before they go out the match?
Yep.
I think if you're thinking moments before you go out the match, then that's when you're in trouble. I think it's kind of a daily process. It's a mental build up where you're kind of basically, working up that roller coaster, so to speak, until your match. If you think, you're always visualizing the match, you're visualizing what's going on in between that circle. And then you're basically, you pretty much just want to be able to cut it loose once that whistle blows, and just let your reactions and actions do all the talking.
Now let's say 145 pounds, Sam Cottrell for Springford, James McGill.
James McGill coming in 0-2 right here, but he's got the pedigree, the family. I see the McGills right down here, right in front of us here, Chad, for the Rams. So he's looking for his first victory of the season.
Working into some pummeling here as we're starting off.
Springford in the clean white there, Chad. You don't want to get that bloodied or dirty.
No special ones. McGill, a freshman, coming up to the varsity, gets a lot of experience, as you mentioned, pedigree of, with the older son. Now wrestling at Columbia.
Yeah. Smart cookie along with a great wrestler. One of those few, as you mentioned, in that they had 3 wrestlers, I believe, last year with 100 wins. That's just unbelievable to think about. One team with 300. Unbelievable. So right now we're
McGill started in the down
17.
position.
No score yet there, Chad.
Yes, his James, and actually the third in line of the McGill brothers to wrestle. All doing, the other two really kind of setting a tone here. But I know that, James works very hard. I've seen him kind of coming up through here with junior high, and, good things are definitely going to come to him. It's hard when your brother Jack is considered by some to be the best wrestler of all time at Springford. I will say one of the best.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the top 3 or 4, along with his teammate Milano and maybe a couple other former wrestlers. But 5 seconds away from technically being Springford's first state champion. A tough call to get into overtime and the state finals last year.
Takedown for
another
2
hip
points.
Down. Yep. Building a 6-2 lead here.
That'd be hard just to get, if you have extra chicken or extra food on the table and you got 2 brothers you got to wrestle, especially a state champion. It's got to be difficult.
You needed to fight for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did you have any brothers or sisters?
A younger brother and a sister, so I got all the food.
Oh, gotcha. You got all the – attaboy. Lex to start down here, Chad. So, again, as you announced, 2 minutes. Next period, we're at 6-2.
Bulger choosing bottom position here.
What's the key, Chad, to keep them down in the bottom position?
You want to constantly apply pressure. You can see kind of coming to the side, trying to claw with it. Now trying to work that double. At this point, he's in a little bit of trouble. Trying to come around for 2.
Ooh, good shot to the head there, Chad.
2 reversal there. Nice job there for a little bit on McGill keeping pressure.
What's the plus of being on bottom, like in choosing the bottom instead of
and I believe
start
this is
down
Sam.
Low. Eyeing each other up here.
Both wrestlers working for inside position right now, working for that leverage as they're going in there. It's commonly referred to as pummeling, where you want to come and you want to work your elbows and work inside to his ribs. Another nice shot there.
You can see two different styles here. McGill's a little bit thicker, especially in the legs. O.J. Roberts, that classical thin, longer wrestler. Harder to bring down and get that leverage, as you said, which is what you want.
Yeah.
So right now, 10-3, McGill looking at deficit.
Back to neutral position. So this is Sam Guatrio for Owen J. Roberts. Currently placed second at the pack last week. Laporte did beat him in the finals, did pin him in the pack finals. It looks like Laporte will be wrestling 152 tonight.
Gotcha. And Sam coming in.
So we've got a seasoned wrestler here, and with McGill. So this is a good learning experience, definitely for James as he's fighting in there.
Sam only a sophomore here, like I said, 20-9, so pretty good record at 29 as a sophomore. So McGill getting a couple points there, getting it closer, inching closer, 12-5.
So as you were mentioning before the national anthem, how you're, as a team, you receive 3 points for a decision. Once you win by 8 points, 8 to 14 points, it is now 14 points considered a major decision. Once you beat him by 15 points, it's considered a tech fall, which is 15 points, and a pin or an injury default is 16 points, or a forfeit.
I'd go for a pin every time.
You could go for a pin. Usually, if you're always going for a pin every time, you yourself will be also being able to count the lights in the ceiling.
I know some of you wrestlers like to punish the others and just keep racking up the points.
You come out in your Hulk Hogan gear and try to get the pin caught. We'll come out in our singlets and just buzzsaw you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're probably right. Buzzsaw.
Here we're keeping it at a 16-5, and this is where, McGill at a 11 point. He knows he's 4 points away from giving Owen J a tech fall. Even just as a freshman, McGill is strong, trying to look away right now and keep Sam from working that half Nelson.
Now, is that the worst position to be in, Chad, on your on your belly? Is that the worst position defensively you want to be?
No,
not. So hard to get out of.
That's the worst position you want to be.
There you go. Just got pinned.
That's what we called. He was really getting in that half Nelson, what we call waggle, where he had that half, and he would stick his front side knee, and what it did, you saw that it really stretched McGill out. And once you get stretched out like that, you don't have the stability or strength not to get turned.
Now wrestling 152 for Owen J. Roberts, Brody Mazzella for Springford.
Brody Mazzella got a tough task as a freshman going against Ryan Laporte, the senior. He's coming in as a senior. Ryan Laporte, as you said, just won. He increasing his record to 19-8. So I'm sure he's trying to make this a quick match here.
Yeah, Ryan is he's really, really done a great job of just a work ethic. Once again, a younger brother of two former Springford wrestlers, former Laportes. So he's third in the family as well, just like you saw McGill. And we'll come back and talk a little bit about that family wrestling type. I know last time we did you talked about that as well. It's just it's a tight-knit group, community, and tight-knit family. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't be prouder of just seeing Ryan wrestle. I actually was able to coach him in 8th grade football. He weighed about the same. He didn't look the same. a little pudgy back in 8th grade.
Correct.
I'm sorry there, Ryan, when you hear this. But I'll tell you what, he's turned himself into a chiseled athlete. He's focused, and he's become one of the leaders on this team. Coach Slisoff talks very highly of him, really setting the tone in practice. And, and it was a team that needed it. You can see the movement here with him. He's turned himself into a faster twitch athlete, which in wrestling you can see him getting that ankle and trying to come out the back at this point. He wants to try to get that O&J guy off his ankle, off of that. They like to grab those ankles and get into a scramble. But Ryan, you can see right here, did a nice job of being patient and just being able to turn it and get his 2.
Yep, so he's up 2-0 here. And as you said, I've known the Laportes. I've had all of them in my classroom, all the boys. The only one I didn't have was the one girl, the youngest, his youngest sister there. So, yeah, you could see the dedication he's put in. I see him at the Y, and, it's funny talking to his dad a couple weeks ago mentioning that, he kind of whined because he couldn't do something because he only had like 5% body fat. His dad's like, you're going to complain about 5% body fat.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely put in the time and the work, and he's just a great kid.
Yeah. And this is something that he can take on with him the rest of life, being able to, work and really put his mind to something, really, his passion, into wrestling and having success and being a leader on the team. I mean, you had between, McGill, Milano, and Needles, and it was a very deep senior class last year of just leaders that led by example. And Ryan's doing that this year for Springford.
It had to have such a great impact on most of these kids. You could be in the wrestling room with those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And you had to pick up so much stuff. It's almost like having an extra 3 coaches in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes you that much better just getting beat up like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to see what it takes to definitely be literally be the best. Ryan doing a nice job here with trying to grab that, let that arm back there. Nice tight waist.
What kind of leverage is he going for here there, Chad?
So
What's
right
he
now
trying
you can
to
see
do?
him trying to work that wrist where the Spring O&J guys, he's trying to keep those wrists out and keep those elbows tight right now as Ryan continues to try to chop and get that far wrist. He's kind of sitting on that back leg right there, which keeps his hips tight and leverage into him.
Really great shot there by RCTV's camera there. Really, as everything you said right there was right on camera there. So Laporte still leading with 56 seconds left, 5-0. Trying to tie things up here against the visiting Wildcats. And it's amazing, it's always amazing to me how time flies. Like you said, it's just, you remember coaching him, 8th grade, and all of a sudden it seems like a blink of an eye, and you see I'm sure as a teacher also, one of the greatest things is to see these kids kind of grow and develop and become just great young men and go on, like you said, and do things in life and be productive. And it is kind of nice. It's sentimental, but it's fun to see.
Mm-hmm. Got a little loose with his. He was Ryan trying to claw there and trying to kind of get that Turk. I didn't quite. OJ didn't got him for it. Then I think he got a little too aggressive. Ryan did, turning him, and that's where you can see his hips fell, and that gave up the 2. There we go. That was a nice scramble by Ryan to
get the 2.
Get the 2 reversal at the whistle to kind of make up for up for his mistake there. That was good.
Got those 2 points back.
That's what I'm talking about with Ryan. Some guys would waste those last 10 seconds of the period too, pissed at themselves and with the head on the mat. And you can see Ryan right there, very resilient to make up for that 2-point reversal.
I was going to say, how hard is that in wrestling, like you said, where, he's not expected to give 2 points up to a freshman maybe, and to get frustrated as he just gave up another 3 there. How hard is it to keep your composure during a match like that?
Just like almost, you miss a foul shot in basketball, you throw a pick, or you get a fumble in football. You got to have as an athlete, you got to have a short-term memory. You film it, you look at it later tonight, you look at it tomorrow, but you got to have a short-term memory. You got to throw it out, and you got to move on. Ryan, nice reverse here. The Owen-J did do a nice dump there, like little Kuvo-like dump. Ryan had a nice reverse. He is now up by 4 it'll be interesting to see how if Coach Slislov asks him to cut or if he's going to try to work into a major decision here or he'll settle for a 9-5 score.
A minute left here, yep. In the last period. Looks like Laporte should hold on to this. He's got that pretty much locked. Looked like he was going for the pin there, Chad. Trying to roll him over.
Doing a nice job stalling there. Stalling is when you're not trying to do and advance yourself. Nice job there with a nice pin. Did a really nice job of grabbing what we call, kind of some people call that the ball and chain, where you get that wrist between the legs and then he just clawed him over.
Not the classic ball and chain. You're not talking about Mrs. Strickler.
One of them. No, not that one.
Not that one. All right. I was going to say. That's right. All right. So Logan Brower coming in for the Wildcats at 7 and 12. And who's he wrestling there, Chad?
He's wrestling Anthony Attilio.
Oh, Anthony Attilio, 16 and 8, the junior. So it should be a pretty good matchup here.
Anthony having a nice season for Springford. Really taking off, another wrestler you've seen through the years. His father was a Springford wrestler. Did a really nice job running Springford youth wrestling for a lot of years. And, Anthony's kind of picking up where he's off. A nice, 16 and 8 record. You can see a good dump there by Anthony.
Nice roll, yep. Oh.
All right, working some legs in there. You can see that left leg kind of curl on the inside. You can really do a lot of damage with that once you get those legs in and you can start working him out. It's a little high right now.
And you kind of mentioned earlier, and I was going to ask you, one of the things that interests me is these guys, like you mentioned, they've known each other, pretty much their whole lives and gone through the wrestling ranks and this and that. How hard is it for these kids because they know each other's styles so much? I mean, do you feel like, did you have to change your style when you used to wrestle, a kid probably for like the 8th time? Or, did you have to adjust your style? Or
you're good at what you're good at, but you have to start being able to counter. And, what it does is it forces you not to settle, settle for something here. In regards to that. So you can see Anthony here a little bit ago given a technical violation for locked hands. That's a nice job there with a hazard. But even if you have 4, even if you have your hands down and you're off, if you lock your hands on top, it's a point. So he kind of got caught with that, but now he's, looks like he's starting to make up for it. He's got a nice cradle going. Nice series on top there for Anthony. Should be 2 back points there. There we go.
Yep, picks up 2.
But from that standing hazard, working the wrist to a cradle there for 2. That was a nice series of what we call constantly moving. The old school term for that would be chain wrestling. The new term for that would be kind of scrambling and moving on a top position.
Yeah, it's funny watching these matches as he leads 4-1. Attilio does. I'm thinking to myself, every once in a while you kind of see you can't fake it. There's some shots to the head or they're grabbing this and that. As a wrestler, are you trying as much as you can to kind of get away with those little shots?
Yeah, you call it heavy hands, but if your heavy hands tend to, pop on that a little bit. Here you're seeing a front headlock. Anthony did started kind of working that front headlock and extending him. Was able to throw it by for 2. Once again, putting those legs in. But yeah, your head, your hand, your elbows to your hands are your first areas of defense. Head position, very, very key in wrestling. Here you're seeing another cradle. Doesn't quite get it. That's what he had. Now going a little near cradle. Once again, trying some different things here. Got to be a little careful with keeping pressure on that man as they go out of bounds. We got 1 point for Owen J.
Sometimes is that just important to try to get out of bounds? You know, if you're getting beat up, just kind of get a breather and get away and start.
It depends where you're at. I mean, if
Yep.
you're near the bounds, and it depends on the situation. In that situation, it was good for O&J. If you're in bad position, you wouldn't get out of bounds. If you're in good position, you kind of want to stay. Like right now, Anthony doesn't want to get. He wants to kind of try to circle him back in a little bit more clockwise, which might be tough to do. But O&J knows where the edge of the mat is. That's where it's sometimes, and it would be hard for high school to ever do this. But in college, as long as you have a hair over on the mat, on the circle, they still wrestle. So you'll see the mats themselves is a lot wider, but it really opens up for less ability to get out of bounds.
I'll tell you what, just observing, and again, wrestling, everybody should be out here. But one of the things I'm noticing is the shoes, they haven't changed at all in like 40, 50 years. I mean,
the what?
His equipment, what's changed? The shoes. The wrestling shoes look exactly the same. You'd think Nike would come out with some like air pumps or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the newest ones are Rudis. You can see a Rudis
I can
style.
see on Logan
it's a new
there.
wrestling company that started in 2013. I'm an apparel nerd, so anyway, that's why I'm saying that. But your classic Asics are over there as well. Still a staple of the wrestling community.
The last period here, he's holding on to a 12. Attila holding on to a 12-2 lead.
They let him, so Anthony chose down. O&J chose to let him up right away, which gives him a point. We're at a 10-point lead. I know Anthony's kind of working to that tech fall pin range at this point. No, there we go. Nice throw by Strug.
Oh, nice.
There
nice
we go.
counter.
Okay. That was a pretty quick headlock, but a nice roll through.
Yep.
To get another point.
16-4.
Up to a 12-point lead. At some point, Anthony, might want to work a pinning combination off of that takedown.
If you're Owen J. Roberts, if you're Bauer, are you thinking, you're down 14. Are you just thinking about pinning, or are you just thinking about finishing strong, getting some points?
It depends, but when you're down 18-4, there's a reason. So usually pinning the man at that point.
Yeah.
Although you would like to do that, it's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it'd be the only way to win the match is through the pin.
So we're up to a 14. So, the next time Anthony puts him on his back, he's got a minute here. He wants to take a little bit of time, make sure it's a good, tight pinning combination. A cheap 2 right now will just get a tech fall, but we'll see if Anthony with this. And this isn't a cheap type. He's got a nice tight half there. Readjusting himself back a little bit to get chest to chest. He's going to OJ's trying to get that right arm punching down to the mat, which he does. So we get a tech fall, which is a nice win, a nice job there by Anthony. Really nonstop wrestling there, which is a testament to once again the time and effort he's put into this sport over the years.
Yeah, definitely. Do you kind of get a feel sometimes during a match if the other wrestler is ready for the pickings, as you should say, like for, to get pinned right away? Can you kind of get a sense that they're tired?
I mean, sometimes if they put themselves in a vulnerable position. But generally speaking, especially these two teams facing, you very rarely have that in an O&J versus Springford match. Here we have for Springford, have Ryan Horvath.
And Horvath, and he is wrestling against, was this Bechtold? Dylan Bechtold coming in at 25-5. Most wins for the Wildcats.
Bechtold, a recent Pac-10 champion over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Ryan having a good year himself.
As Horvath
Ryan finishing third in the Pac championship.
12-5 overall, and had a nice football season there. Horvath
was definitely a leader on our defensive team was the Mike Backer, two-time All-League linebacker. As I always said, he's wrestling 172, but I always thought Ryan played about at 220.
He
brought the
definitely,
wood.
He does. He does play bigger than his size. They always look bigger in pads. Some say I look about 210 in pads.
Sometimes you just don't need to even respond.
Yeah, exactly.
Bechtold, a nice wrestler here. Nice, has a little leverage. You can see him, doing a fair amount of moves. Nice job there by Ryan, kind of in a little bit of a scramble reshot. Trying to work that. Bechtold has a nice whizzer in there, trying to hold that in there. If he can still keep that ankle, a little potentially dangerous.
Does
close
look
there,
like a
close
kneecap
to.
could have came out there.
Yeah, close job there by Ryan to get that 2 points.
And like I said, I just don't think sometimes the body is supposed to twist like that with some of these guys doing the wrestling. It's absolutely amazing that they can counter that quickly and react.
The more, it's just you can wrestle for your whole life, and you're gonna these wrestlers are just in different positions all the time. There's never a position you might not end up in.
Bechtold is a sophomore, where Horvath is a senior. Trying to show his dominance here. It's 6'2".
Working back in for that stand-up. Bechtold does a nice job. Forward pressure. Working at wrist control with his left. Ryan's got to be careful with that head there. And when you're a short, compact athlete, as Ryan is, you need to really be careful in that bottom position about starting to get tied up and with tightness there.
Just feels like you get those burns on when you're laying on your belly like that, as you're trying to roll around that mat type thing.
A little bit more about the head right now with Ryan, but he's got to work himself up. We got a stalling warning there, which is a little early. But I'm a little biased.
What constitutes a stall?
The top guy
how do you get stalled?
When the bottom. So basically, Ryan's goal right now is to be getting out or reversing. So when you're at the bottom position, kind of in what I would call like a rock position of just being able to just not get turned, that's when refs want you to try to advance. So Ryan at this point wants to try a post. He's got to watch that ankle. He was able to move his ankles back, kind of as I said that. Now they're working pummeling. You can see Bechtold inside of that. Ryan did a nice job of dropping his hips and kind of getting out of that.
Gets closer.
Another
here.
job there, Bechtold. You can see he keeps opening up with that right. There's one time that Ryan was able to shoot. Right now he's not in great position. He kind of fell into that, Merkel, right there. So now he was able to hook that leg and extend Ryan and then turn him over. We've got 5 seconds left for Ryan to fight it. This is a tight position right here.
So Bechtold gets the
Ryan really kind of got caught in that there. You could see the underhooks and that inside position really helped Bechtold there, and it put Ryan in a very vulnerable position.
Yeah, so Bechtold not victorious there. So, Horvath. Bechtold getting the 26th victory on the year.
Here you've got
Kyle
Houston having a nice season there
by default.
Yeah, 14-5 record for Kyle. Didn't wrestle last year, with everything going on, but it's really good to see him back. Coach Seislav and the staff was really glad to have him back. He's really done a nice job. Really done a nice job for them, for Spring Ford. I know his family's also pumped that he's back in the mat.
So Francis McCoy wrestling for Owen J. Roberts, coming in with 18 wins, 8 losses. He's a senior.
And wrestling for Spring Ford here is going to be
Daniel Borzillo. who's a sophomore, coming in at 7-9. Looking to inch closer to that 500 there. Everybody loves the heavyweights, Chad.
He's got that, yeah, he's got that pressure tight there.
Oh!
Nice double leg takedown. Brazil doing a nice job. Danny had an injury, kept him out all football. He did a nice job working back from that. You can see here, like, where you don't want two things that are close together. You don't want your head and your knee close. That puts you in a very tough spot. And Owen taking advantage of that situation right now.
So
tough one there for Danny, but he's going to learn from this. Coach Landis will talk to him here, what he needs to work on.
Quick victory in that first period there. So here we go again, another heavyweights.
Now wrestling 285 from Owen J. Blake Fisher, Springboard John Caputa.
Blake Fisher coming in at 3-9. Caputa coming in at 8-5. The senior is for the Rams.
Yeah, Caputa, really serious ankle injury last year in wrestling. Re-injured it in football and really gutted out most of the season with it. Eventually had to go back and get it cleaned out, and he just seems to be kind of refreshed mentally and physically. Doing a nice job here for Springford. Started wrestling around Christmas time, a little after, missed a couple of those early season tournaments. But he's really helped solidify Springford at the top of the lineup here. Nice shrug there, nice big shrug move there.
I mean, how serious of, I would say more than many sports.
John just getting I don't mean to interrupt you, but that would what we would call a full Nelson, where you have both hands under and touching the neck at the same time.
So he gets the penalty,
that is an illegal
gives up
move.
the point. But yeah, I was going to say it's got to be so crucial in wrestling. If you hurt your ankle, because most of your leverage comes from the lower body, more, just as much as any other sport, how hard is that for a wrestler mentally to kind of come back from that? Oh, nice
very
takedown.
hard. You can see there that it's not bothering him as much. I don't think he could have done that before that second surgery, just knowing Johnny would have wanted to. But you can just see that he's just moving and acting a lot better. He kind of got suckered into what we call the big man roll to get reversed for two, but did a nice job of doing that. Now, the problem is this guy's going to go for again, so that's where John has to look. As soon as he tried to put that half in, the guy tried to hook that elbow and then use those big hips to your advantage.
Up 4-3 here he is.
There's he got what we call the power half. Now the problem is we got to make sure he's broken down first. He's a little too high. He's got to break him down first and get him flat. There we go. Now this is where you put that power half in. If he can keep all of his weight on him and really pummel that head in there, a little extra dig in the back of the neck's never a bad thing. You can see where his hips are kind of up again. So he's got to keep those hips, like he's got to keep all, let's say he weighed in at 245, he's got to keep all 245 on the back of Fisher.
It's got to be harder at that size too with the weight, like you said, the balance. The balance has got to be so much more difficult with that weight to keep it, like you said, the hips and everything kind of in alignment when you're getting that much force thrown around.
Yeah, it's why you always see so many NFL linemen that were once former wrestlers. Oh no, that's not. You almost got caught in that big man roll again. Just gotta be careful. That's where when you're flat, the guy can't do it. If you're trying to come under and do too much when the guy's on his knees, that's where that big man roll comes into play.
What's he trying to do here? Roll him over?
This time he was able to get to that side and punch that in, which was a lot better. And a nice job there. Kind of learned off that second time, and a really nice job there by John. Turning and circling instead of keeping his hips behind him. He was able to circle and really put that pressure in that counterclockwise motion to pin
Caputa
the OJ wrestler.
There. You get that pin there, get for the Rams there as they take the lead now 23-18.
Now wrestling 106 from Owen J. Quinn Carr for Springboard. Gus Smith.
So Quinn Carr coming in at 11-8, and Smith, Cole Smith at 15-2. So a tough task here.
Gus Smith.
Or Gus Smith, excuse me, 16-7. So still a very good record.
Yeah, Gus. Gus is the younger brother of Quinn, who you're going to see wrestle a little bit. Just a really nice, fundamentally sound wrestler.
Now they all related, these Smiths. You got three Smiths, Cole, Gus.
So Cole is Cole Smith, who you'll be seeing wrestle next, is not related.
Gotcha.
But Gus is the younger brother of Junior Quinn Smith. Just a wrestling family, great family. They live and breathe wrestling, and they do it. Great family, and it is definitely paying off on the mat. Gus just a really smart, cerebral, quiet young man. But he's tenacious on the mat. You can see here, really nice job of working that near cradle, really putting pressure on that head as he's kind of torquing towards that, getting all that weight on that head right now. Nice and tight, a little high on that. You can see right there, he kind of worked himself back to readjust. Nice job there, elevating him. Nice and tight.
There it is.
Great job there. Nice win by Gus.
What's the key of getting that pin at that, the very end where he was trying to get him on his back a little bit over?
You want to continually.
What do you need to do?
As I would say like it's a torquing motion of like rotating towards if the head's on your left side, you want to torque in a counterclockwise, and you want to get that head down in nice and tight. So you can see he readjusted, and once he readjusted, it squeezed. Cole Smith, you just
15-2,
mentioned.
just got the default.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic Ortlib coming in at 16-7.
Yeah, so Cole got the forfeit there, and Dominic, another Springford wrestler who's been around quite a bit, done a nice job for a lot of years here, senior, and really kind of, was sick there for a little bit, but he's got himself back into shape.
It's kind of funny. We go from the heavyweights to the lightweights, and talk about how different is it, where you almost see two different styles, where you see the speed with obviously the lighter guys, where the bigger guys you don't. It's just a lot more of the lower body, the legs, and getting the leverage.
Yeah.
Where here, you can just see the light speed of these kids.
Yeah, the beauty of wrestling is you're wrestling someone your own weight. So a lot of times they're going to have a little bit of a similar athletic style. But yeah, when you get this lightweight, you need to be, you really do need to be technically sound in all areas. Whereas at times upper weights can kind of get away with being a little rougher and gruffer, and just knowing a couple moves. I'm not saying the elite ones are going to wrestle. The elite upper weights wrestle like a middleweight. If you ever hear someone compliment an upper weight, they wrestle like a middleweight. It means they're as fast and fluid and as technical as them. But yeah, these lightweight guys, most of these types of the younger wrestlers, these are the guys that have really been wrestling forever. They were little, they were scrappy, and their dad goes, "You're going into the wrestling ring." You know what? And they fall in love with it.
Yeah, scrappy it's definitely a different, I think I mentioned before, my father, one great piece of advice he said to me: if you ever get in a fight, make sure a guy's not a wrestler.
Well, I don't want to bring that. It helps the little guys in those types of things.
Oh my gosh!
If they steal your snack pack from lunch or something, but we won't. Those days are past.
Oh yeah.
As a cafeteria.
It's funny because I was
supervisor. I can't say that now. I can't. I'm against that.
I was talking to former wrestler around when I graduated, a little older than me, but the great Chris Kortnick. I'm sure you know the Kortnick family real well. But one of the things I used to say to him is, that wrestlers today, it's like past his time. The wrestlers today dominate in the the cage fighting. These guys now, because they can counter everything.
Yeah.
They just dominate.
Mm-hmm. And wrestling in itself has become much more of a counter, whereas years ago it was much more of you teach the offense and you teach defense. Well, now you don't necessarily teach defense; you teach countering. Countering is defense, but you're countering a score, not countering just to stop that guy's move. And that's what really has changed the sport over the past 10 or so years. Here we've got second period.
Like Miyagi-Do. Miyagi-Do teaches defense. Strike first is Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Dominic working an inside leg stand up there with a whizzer, doing a nice job. This is where the young guys, you're hopping, guys, trying to sweep that leg, and does a nice job of working himself out of bounds. Did stand up.
As we can see on the sidelines there, Chad, it's how hard, like, what are you doing as you're on the sidelines to kind of keep loose? What is like the regiment on the sideline for those that haven't wrestled? They're
It's kind of a work in progress. I mean, if you know you're up right away, you need to come out sweaty. If you're the last match of the night, you don't want to get too much into the match because at times you're cheering and you're pumping and you're getting too much using that emotion. By the time you go, you actually tend to flatline a little bit. So yeah, you kind of have that mental preparation of hey, there's four matches before I'm up. I got to do this, 3 matches, 2 matches.
So I was going to ask you, like, when you wrestled, did you watch the other wrestlers?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking long ago, so I don't even remember those years. But yeah, I mean, even when I think the mental part changed a little bit when you were able to start, changing weight. So before you always went light to heavy. Well, sometimes you went heavy. So a big adjustment early on was those upper weights having to wrestle early, and those lighter weights having to wait for a while. So that was a little bit of a mental adjustment there. But you get your routine. It takes a long time, I think, but you get that mental routine so you're ready to cut it loose on the mat. Dominic, a nice job there. Up 5-0.
How many times did you wear your hefty bag?
Never.
Attaboy. That old ritual. So right here, what's Ortlib looking to do here?
So Dom's got that bar in there, which is a Springford staple. So he's actually kind of baiting the Owen J guy to come up right now. So when you bait him, you can see you can work a couple things off of this. He wants to, at this point, the Owen J guy kind of knows what's coming. Dom's trying to do a nice job keeping that elbow secure in there. But if this guy could elevate Dom's left arm, he's kind of trying to get that. He was trying to get that half Nelson there, didn't quite get that. Now he's getting kind of a short stack look there off of that tilt. I would call it like a cheap 2 to try to definitely get some points, more points here. This is where the Owen J guy could probably get a stalling warning too. He's really not doing anything to advance himself. A little short stack there off that near tilt. Didn't quite get it over. But Dom knows he's got that bar advantage to work again.
It's got to be, somewhat as a wrestler. Like, I mean, I don't know. Especially when you go against somebody who's a lot better than you mentally, it's got to be really tough. I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah,
it
the
really
guy's
is
style or whatever.
It is one-on-one. There's nothing like, this besides maybe like a boxing. You literally are out there with no help.
No one to blame.
Correct. It's just got to be really tough.
Can't blame
mentally.
the offensive line because they didn't block well.
Yeah, correct.
Or the cornerbacks because they didn't cover. It's a nice job
There's
here
a
with
nice
Dom.
pin. Yep.
Dom was nice and patient here. You saw, took advantage of kind of the miscue there of reach looking into it and did a nice job sticking it there. As I said, you can kind of see at the end of second period, Dom kind of had an idea, I think, where he needed to go to take advantage of the pin.
So Ortlib picking up his 17th victory.
Now wrestling 126 from Owen J. Roberts, Brandon Hausman for Springford, Quinn Smith.
So Quinn Smith coming in at 24-4, and Hausman, the freshman, is coming in at 5-10. I know Mrs. Hausman over there, his mother, who teaches in our building, said he's got a tough hill to climb here.
Quinn has pretty much become the lead dog here at Springford, and is a testament to his record. And he has really just become a buzzsaw. He was a technician when I used to watch him wrestle in youth, and it hasn't changed. He's just a technician. He's strong, physical, and he just loves wrestling. Does a
You
nice
gotta
job in
love it when
cross
you're
country.
good.
His brother and him run cross country as well, and they do a nice job in that. He really gets them in shape for wrestling.
Quinn Smith has the most victories for the Rams this year. So he
Yeah,
just
really
rolled them
coming
over.
into his own. Had a nice freshman and sophomore year on the varsity lineup. Was kind of, I don't want to say a complimentary wrestler. He was a good wrestler, but I mean, you're looking up at the Milano and McGills of the world, and Needles and those guys. And when I mean a complimentary wrestler, he did a really good job. But now he is the man. Like he is the pure pillar, one of the pillars now of the Springford wrestling team. And he's a junior, and he's just going to continue to get better. You can see him working these hazards, really tightening off the bottom wrestler right now. Now he's got that bar and that half. That guy kind of looked right into there. Quinn's getting that tight with 20 seconds left.
What's Hal's been trying to do for Owen J. Roberts here with his legs? What's he trying to do with his legs? It almost seems like he's trying to push, spread his legs out like that to try to get leverage, push up.
You just try to
bridge.
You basically just, I mean, there's technique when you're trying to get pinned, and there's just fighting like heck to try not to get pinned.
Fighting like heck is a good.
He was just doing a little bit of both there. He was really getting stretched out. You saw that shoulder blade really coming out. I know Quinn has taken a book out of, Jack McGill, I would always say, is probably the most physical wrestler I've ever seen from Springford. Milano and, Matt Moley, very aggressive and physical, but Jack really just went out there to hurt you, and I feel I see in a legal way.
In a legal way, correct.
But I know Quinn's got a little bit of that in him too. It's a fight with rules when Quinn's on the mat.
That's a good thing. As long as it's within the rules, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes that intimidation's real good, especially on the mat.
Here he's getting working a little bit of what we call a Navy ride. He's got that elevation. You can see that near leg kind of elevating up. Didn't quite have it fully secure. Still got nice 2 points. That's a ride, a move we don't see a whole lot anymore, but a nice one there. Now we got a short stack coming. He's got that bar and that wrist there.
Now, is he trying to keep him inside, not let him get out?
Yeah, you can see him kind of rotating him back to the mat because he was trying to snail crawl out. Exposing his back for some more. You let go of that wrist, so the ref's going to give him 2 points there. I guess he's still holding that too. Still has that bar in there. Just see that elbow's not quite popped. That's why Owen J is able to kind of walk that out. You can see that if that elbow would be sitting on Quinn's bicep, you would have that a little tighter there.
Is this what you constantly practice though? During practices, your counters. I mean, how do you because you'd think in a split second to be able to do that, and how many times, like I said, your opponent maybe tries something. Maybe not necessarily that you practice all the time type thing. I mean, how do you prepare for that during the weeks?
Sometimes you just have a 5-minute roll. Sometimes, or you're just constantly you're not like guys are just putting themselves in 5-minute roll scramble. You put yourself in awkward situations. Maybe you start with the bar, the other opponent starts down, and then you switch it. So you put them in as many different situations and do short wrestling spurts with those situations. I know Coach Seislaw, Landis, Coach Busa, and their staff, they're really rolling. They try, to stay up with, the best ways of technique. So at times I know they're doing things I'm not even talking about. That was a nice tech fall there by Quinn.
Yep.
Very workmanlike.
Very workmanlike is right. Yeah, getting a little workout. Did you feel like that sometimes as a wrestler? A lot of times you didn't want to go for the pin, but you wanted to get the workout in.
You do, but you don't want to show, you know what I mean, on a wrestling match.
Correct.
Yeah, you don't. At the same time, you don't want to, show the opponent up and take them down 10 times. So put on, in that
Correct.
regards. So you got to be careful. There's still a level of sport. In all sports, it's still a level of sportsmanship. Here's a good match coming our way. For Springford, we've got Stephen D'Angelo.
So D'Angelo coming in. Stephen D'Angelo 8-13. is that Mason Karkaska, who is 15-5. A junior.
Nice
turn
job there
right
by
there.
Steven.
Gets 2 points there.
Getting that takedown.
Very nice takedown. Good reverse there.
Maybe this wasn't. Englehart. No, this wasn't.
Now I was going to ask you too.
This has
Just
been,
again, just looking at it. What's in wrestling?
I don't know if this is. I'm not sure if this is Englehart or not for. I'm sorry.
Oh, for O.J. Roberts. Yep.
For O.J. Roberts. He had he in the championship finals. Steven got pinned by him, so I'm not sure if that's him or not.
I was going to say, most people just think of wrestlers as muscle kind of guys, this and that. What do you think are the 3 most important things besides that? What do you think you need to be successful? Is it like balance? Is it, lower body? What specifically do you feel is 3 things that you need to be a successful wrestler?
I would say leverage and balance would be one. You can see there, Matt. I think this is Englehart wrestling, against Steven. And his just to go back to the family thing, his dad was a good wrestler here at Springford. Was also helped out with the youth team, and his younger brother wrestles. So once again, you've got those family ties. Yeah, and Steven really kind of getting back in the groove here. Didn't wrestle last year, with the things going on. But has done a really nice job and definitely helped Springford out coming back to wrestle. And you can see he's a nice athlete, really, staying fluid there with his movement. But yeah, definitely balance and leverage would be, one of the things I think in regards to that. Being able to like use your strength and your body to your advantage with all those with the different positions. I think a mental grind, a mental grit, however you want to say it, I think is very important. I've never seen a good wrestler that doesn't have a good mental grind, grit, and I guess you could put in parentheses a little nuts, a little crazy.
I'd say so. After watching some of the practices and this and that, I always say there's nothing like, I was going to ask you earlier, I know you played football and you wrestled. Football practices and football season must have been a break for you.
Wrestling's tough. You can't get away from wrestling. No. You're wrestling the whole time. In football,
oh my gosh.
You can kind of, guys can kind of, at times maybe, if they're on the second team or they're, the second team's in or you're not on the scout. Yeah, there's, more from a coaching standpoint now. But kids can kind of maybe not get in all the time. Especially when you have higher numbers.
Correct. Like I said, I've seen the wrestling room, and like you said, you really don't. It's not something you just practice by yourself. No. You constantly have to wrestle.
Yeah. The only way you can do it.
Yeah, and especially today, they wrestle so many matches now. Mm-hmm. They really do. It is unbelievable how many matches.
You can see here a nice hazard here by Matthew, kind of tying up Steven there. Steven gave up his wrist there. Looks like he got three back points. Give himself an 8-3 lead. And I know this is Steven's 3rd time wrestling him, and it hasn't done well the first 2 times. So I know that's what you were talking about there, about that mental part. So even just a little conversation I had with Steven today. I'm like, well, the 3rd time, 3rd time's a charm.
Charm,
here. Like, you just gotta. You can't think of those two. You learn from them. Gotta move on. And you can see where he did come out with a nice plan of attack there, with a nice shot and doing some things. Matthew's pretty good on the top position, which is where he's gotten some of his points. Here you can see kind of hanging on to that head there. Steven's got to be careful he doesn't work too much into that there, using his momentum to his disadvantage. Kind of got high with those hips, you know what I mean? So that leverage balances. If he kind of drops and comes under, maybe he's able to stay, but Matt used his momentum.
Does video come in that much in wrestling? Like, do you
Very
watch
much
like,
so.
really?
Very
So you
much
do
so.
watch like a lot of
I'm sure he'll
old.
be. Yeah, I'm sure. They'll be going over this tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, you'll film all the matches, and yeah, just like anything else, you're going to definitely be able to see things that you can do on the mat from the video.
That actually surprises me. I thought, with the wrestling, it's just so reactive. So many times, it's just unpredictable.
There's always positions you're in that you can probably do different, make more advantageous or differently. Hey, if this guy does this, you could see he was sitting on that ball and chain or an anchor, however you call it. Hey, this is what you got to do when he goes into that.
Get physical there.
You need to let the top guy. You need to let if you let the guy up, he needs ability to be able to stand up and face you. Here he's got a decent shot. He did shoot a little bit across the body and got stretched out. So even though he got that leg, you can see Matt starting to kind of work around the side here. Steven's got a nice shot. Just didn't want to quite get across the body with that. And that's I guess the type of thing I'm talking about is good when he watches that and reviews it. Hey, that's a nice shot, that's good. But you put yourself in a tough spot and a good wrestler shooting across the man's body there.
Englehart picking up the victory with the Rams still leading overall 46-22.
Now wrestling 138 from Owen J. Bryce Schmoyer for Springford, Matt Hoffner.
Bryce Schmoyer is 3-5 for the Owen J. Roberts Wildcats, and for Springford.
And Hoffner.
Is Hoffner, you said?
So Matt
Oh,
Hoffner.
Matt Hoffner, 14-10.
Coming in with a 14-10 record. Let that leg there a little bit as he came up. Working that wizard, trying to get heavy with that right leg to get it back on the mat.
I had a coach, Hoffner, when I was growing up as a kid. Had some kids. He hated me. Guess you hate your best players. Yes. You can hear the coaching here. Instructions.
Coming up under. He wants to set him to the side there. Hoffner wants to try to just know where he's at, which is out of bounds. Minute into the match, still 0-0 score.
Hoffner trying to improve here, the junior. That record of 14-10. You got to,
Nice
one of the things I wanted to
shrug
mention,
there.
Chad, is the new the new wrestling room. It's unbelievable with the, of course we got the new, weight room and this and that. So they got rid of a huge space downstairs and opened it up. So the Rams have a beautiful, nice. And it's about time the wrestling room got an upgrade.
Yeah, that was pretty much becoming a liability with the amount of, in all seriousness, the amount of wrestlers that would be in that wrestling room with 12 circles.
Oh my gosh!
And how anyone didn't seriously get injured is a blessing. But yeah, being able to double that. Wow, Hoffner with a nice near cradle. Really just took advantage of that situation of kind of exposing there. He's got to sit on that for 5 seconds. It's definitely going to be a 3 count, 3 back points. But this would be nice. Don't know if he that's a very, very close one. We got some blood action going on here. But really nice job there by Hoffner of taking advantage of a vulnerable position.
Took full advantage of that there. The clock saved him. Coach Seislauf giving his instructions there to Hoffner here. Now, when you wrestled, did you hear your coach? at all, or were you just?
I don't even.
Was everything tuned out? Was it just?
I don't really remember. I just remember when I was coaching, young. I always go back to one of my first years coaching. I remember as a wrestler on the bottom position, and I said something to him, and he looked at me. And the one thing you don't want to do at the bottom position is look back. So he looks back to me. The top guy throws a half Nelson and pins him. So one of the first things we always did with, especially with the junior high level, when you're talking, you don't need to make eye contact. You can listen and be, but you have to be, careful, because young wrestlers they'll look. Yeah, I'm like, don't look at. Anyway, he got pinned.
It seems pretty calm tonight. I'll tell you what, the crowd, like usually in the wrestling matches, usually you're allowed as coaches or your parents. Usually you can hear the parents screaming some good advice, especially obviously you're out there by yourself. It's your specific parents who are, obviously encouraging you, but really giving you.
Yeah. And, we've got a 46-22 lead here for Springford. And although you knew it was going to be a good match, already having wrestled, in a decisive victory for Springford and a pack win. I don't want to say this was a little bit more anticlimactic this year, but there's been numerous years where this has decided to pack, and it's been the first time they faced each other. I feel those times you get a little bit more tension and juice kind of flowing, so to speak, in the gym.
I'd say so. Wrestlers, I'm sure, juices and blood's flowing all the time. They're ready to go. I'd be hungry all day after just wrestling practices and just wrestling meets. Be starving. As much energy as calories they burn. They should be wearing their Apple Watches.
Going off the hook. Go position down here. Offner kind of reaching back for that head on the bottom position. Trying to work for that half Nelson. Looks like he finally got it. The half Nelson for a headlock. He's got 58 seconds left. Plenty of time here to sit on this. Sometimes when you turn in like he did right there, it actually just, all that does is just tighten it up. It's tight at this point. I mean, he just got to sit and look to the sky. Notice, I think every time you turn into a headlock, it just tightens up a little bit more. At this point, it's not much you can do.
Nice job.
Kind of going back and forth. It's basically just like working yourself deeper into like a screwdriver hold, tightening it up. Nice job there by Offner, kind of getting that pin in there.
Big
so a final score here of 52-22.
Yep.
Nice win there for Springford.
An absolute great win, and again, what is Springford? Obviously, they're prepping themselves. You said there was just an individual championships this past weekend. What is this for at this point of the season? What are these guys as a team and individually? What are they looking to do here?
So what Springford's looking to do is build off of tonight, and they face Saturday and tomorrow in the first round of districts. Then they come back Friday night for senior night against Chichester. But they're really trying to just get some momentum. Obviously, you always want to stay, being healthy this time of the season. It's you got bumps, bruises, pulled things. It's a long physical season. But just trying to really get some momentum, leaning into districts and team duels, which is the last 2 years Springford's won District 1, and then they've made a fair amount of noise at the state level. And in Pennsylvania, if you're making noise at the state level, you got something going on, because Pennsylvania is as good as it gets for high school wrestling.
Yeah.
But that's really kind of setting yourself up for the individual, season after the duels.
And you talk about as good as it gets, the Springford RCTV coverage here. We have Ava Euler here on camera and Cam Elsner also on camera tonight. And in the studio, the great Andrew Rothermill, along with Chad Strickler. I am Bill Culp. Thanks for joining us tonight as the Rams dominated pretty much the Wildcats 52-22. Until next time, make sure you tune in. I thank all those million listeners out there Until next time, have a great night.